Hey, Judy. There we go.
So how's the arm? Elbow? Oh my goodness.
Basically, it's fine. And I just need to be patient. That's all.
Oh, I know, but isn't that's sometimes the worst medicine?
It is, right? At one level. But there's also a donor site. I had to donate to myself for the skin graft.
Uh-huh.
And that's healing as well. So
That's when I was a senior in high school, of course, you can't go to prom without a nice tan. I fell asleep under a sun lamp, and I had third degree burns here.
oh goodness.
And so when I donated, it was from my dairy air.
Hang on.
So my dad always told me I needed to be careful.
I may need to answer this. Hi.
Hi, Ralph. I can't get in for some reason.
Do you want to try it again? I had the waiting room open for a minute there.
Well, it says please wait. The meeting host will let you in.
Ah, well, I see what the problem is. I haven't let people in. I don't know why I thought it would automatically let people in.
Yeah, no.
Obviously not. No, it shouldn't. Allow participants to chat, rename themselves, enable waiting room. There we go. I think we're doing better. How's
Yeah.
that? Let me turn that off.
Thank you.
Two waiting.
Okay. Are you mute?
Am I mute?
Oh, no, there you are. Never mind.
Not that I know of. I was being quiet. Judy was telling me a story. Did you want to continue the story, Judy?
Well, I was just saying that because of where my skin grafts came, my father always said I needed to be careful because I was showing my rear to anybody and everybody.
Oh, that's horrible.
It is. What was even worse was how horrible I looked going to prom.
Yeah, I could imagine. That would be much fun. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Rhonda, your microphone is off. If you could please turn it on.
I turned it off on purpose. I was wandering around the kitchen.
You don't want to hear that. So your camera works now. What happened?
I made it work.
There you go.
And I may turn it off too. You never can tell.
I'd rather you didn't.
I won't, but I could.
If you wanted to, that's true.
Oh, where'd you go?
I'm
Oh.
here.
How do I get back on there?
Well, you're back on here now. We can see you.
There. I lost you.
We've got it set up so that when somebody talks, their screen takes over.
Yeah, well, I was pushing too many buttons.
Well, you know, that'll happen.
So are you able to record this, Ralph?
I am, and I am.
Okay,
Yes. Thank you for reminding me. I appreciate it.
sure.
So shall we start?
Yes.
So I call this meeting to order. Does anybody have any objections or? No? I tried.
No?
Okay. I guess we could start with things to celebrate. Anybody have something to celebrate?
The little bit of rain.
There you go.
The blue sky, finally.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
My daughter's cutting the ribbon on her brand new school up in Lake City on Monday.
Oh, cool.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to jump in. I have two things to celebrate. Louise's surgery, or Louise is recovering really well from her surgery, no complications. There's a minor follow-up surgery to be done, but there's no indications that there's going to be any complications. And I am healing at a rate that I'm just healing at a good rate. So I'm really pleased about that. That's my stuff.
Yay.
Hey, you guys are starting to get fancy with emoticons and stuff. I don't know. Don't talk to people for a couple of months, and who knows what happens.
A lot of Zoom meetings.
All that, huh? Somebody got a TV going in the background?
No. I'm moving.
Oh, okay. So I guess I'm gonna Joel should know how to use Zoom. What's going on? Hey, couldn't get into.
Do we have an ID?
No, you don't. Just click and go.
Click and go from where?
I sent you an invite.
I haven't gotten it yet.
Okay, where are you? Joel?
Yeah, I don't have one.
Okay. Should we allow him to come in or just to heck with him? What do you guys think?
Ah, let him in.
Let him in.
We'll let him in.
Do you have the ID handy?
I'm going to send you the invite again.
Okay. Jay Watson at western.edu.
You bet.
Okay,
It's gone.
cool.
Do you see it?
Nope, still don't see it. Wonder if it's going somewhere else. Is that possible? No, I get everything. Oh, now I got it.
Cool.
All right.
See you in a bit.
All right, see you in a couple minutes.
So is Fred and Dale here?
I don't know. As far as I know, I sent them the invitation. Because we had, and what I used is we had, hey Joel.
Hey.
I used the batch email that Julie was using, so I figured, oh Joel, it's been a rough summer. I figured that they were in there. Is it possible that they weren't?
I don't think so.
That,
They should be on the list.
yeah, that's what I think too. Well, should we continue ahead without them?
Sure.
Okay. I'm sorry, but like I said, I just did a straight up copy and paste. Onward, they may join us later. Can somebody move to approve the July agenda?
I so move.
Somebody to second?
I
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Wait a minute. So I sent, that didn't get updated we should be approving the August agenda and the July minutes. And I sent an email out late this afternoon with those corrections. I got it.
I did too.
I didn't look because I had this one, so
I'm sorry.
let's just do it again, please. Thank you, Julie. Approval of August agenda.
I so move.
One person moved. I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Further,
I don't know who it was that moved.
Joy did.
Do I? Okay.
Yeah, the blob in the corner.
Ralph
Okay,
seconded.
sorry. I don't mean to interrupt.
No problem. We got to do this right. It's important. Any further discussion? All right. Approval of July minutes.
I move the approval of the July minutes.
Thank you, Rhonda. Second.
I second it.
Thank you.
Steve Ford.
Thank you, Stephen. I got the GWSD in front of your name and I'm going, that can't be a first name. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
They were a little long.
No, I tried to cut them short.
I like it on one page.
Any further discussion? All right, approved. We got financial report.
I'll take over. I assume everybody got the budget. It's been around for a long time. We didn't send out a new one. Rhonda had a couple of questions, and one of them was about the newsletter costing $1,700 a year. Julie feels like we've generated a considerable amount in December right after the newsletter goes out. So maybe that would be appropriate to leave that one. And then as I was looking at it compared to where we're at right now, there was one other thing that jumped out at me and now I'm not seeing it. So I believe that there's nothing else that I have to add to it. If everyone approves of it, we can so vote.
Rhonda, did you want to talk about it some more or?
I think that the only question I had was that earlier I had asked Julie, this was back several months ago, if we had a record of the amount generated by the newsletter, and we didn't have that separate from other income. So we didn't really know the amount that was generated. The only thing I would say about this is that I think that newsletter serves a number of purposes and therefore it's important. It might be that depending on how much money it generates, it might be that it is closer to public relations than it is to income generating. But I don't feel strongly about that. It's just that I think it would in fact be helpful if at some point this year, for example, if we would keep a record of what in fact is generated by the newsletter.
So Rhonda, I responded to your email on July 31st and forwarded some of the questions that you had asked to Vicki. But I replied to you, and maybe you didn't get it, but I just wanted to read it really quick. That I'd forwarded some of the questions, but we spent $872 on the newsletter. 649 of that was printing and layout, and 223 of it was postage. And we received $5,395 in donations in December. And then I put in parentheses, 2,000 of that was the McAllister Foundation from that solicitation. And then I answered a couple more of your questions. So I just, did you not receive that? I'm thinking
No,
now maybe you didn't.
No, I don't remember getting those figures. What that would leave is 3,000 from year-end giving, but how much of that in fact is the newsletter is the question.
Well, as far as, you know, I can see when checks come back in the envelopes that we send out. So I kind of know that.
Yeah,
So I do try to mark in the Excel spreadsheet that I keep that doesn't really have anything to do with QuickBooks, because it has more to do with the donor database that I keep kind of track of, so we can see over time how much a certain person has given over years, you know, every
Right.
year kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it's hard for me to nail down, you know, specifically what generates, because sometimes people will send that come March or something. I'll just get a random envelope in the mail, and I don't know. I mean, it's that envelope from the newsletter, but you know, and then there's some PayPal things. So I just tried to give you numbers of December, because that's when we send out the newsletter. You know, we send it out, you know, before then, and that's typically what's generated from that. It's we get them all in kind of at the same time in that month, and that's a big number. So that was just the numbers that I gave you, but I can try and track it more specific than that. But yeah, it's kind of hard to know, because sometimes people will just send in a donation without it being marked like that it's newsletter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. We do two things at the end of the year. One is the letters we send out that we sign, that board members sign, and then the newsletter itself. And
the return envelope is the same one. It's like the donation envelope. So maybe I could put a little L or something on an envelope so I knew it was from the letter versus the posts.
Put a little mark in the corner.
Yeah.
Something like that. I just think it would be helpful for us to have a sense of how much comes from the letters that we sign toward the end.
Versus the.
Yeah. So thank you.
Got what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So may I butt in? So that brings me up, Julie, you say you spent about 983. Perhaps 1,700 is more to budget. Maybe we should just budget 1,000, since that's what it costs. That's the postage and the printing of the newsletter, the 983.
It was 872.
988.62 is what I have expensed last year for the newsletter. Does that
Okay.
include postage?
You and I can talk specific numbers. I'm just looking at this email. So I probably was just looking at, when I answered this from Rhonda, I probably just went back and looked at the invoice for the newsletter, and then looked at my spreadsheet for December. So I wasn't really looking at QuickBook numbers. So that's why I could be a little bit off from you.
I see. But it seems as if 1,700 might be a little high for what it really cost.
Correct. It was cheaper this year. We went directly to Dove Graphics versus Rochambeau and Dove. Dove did it all for us this year.
Yeah. So if you would like, I can lower that $1,700 budget number.
Let's do that.
Okay, lower it to 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since we're talking newsletter, I'm curious, how many times do we send it out a year?
Once.
Okay.
At the end of the year.
Okay, thank you.
Sometimes we do a solicitation when we're building that might just be like a little postcard campaign, and we send it out to mostly like our donor database people, which is like 250 donors versus our 700 people that are on our mailing list that get the newsletter.
Cool, thank you. So would anybody like to move that we accept the budget for 2021?
With one
With-
change,
Oh,
as changed, the newsletter changes to 1,000.
that was my understanding.
Yes.
And I'm going to withdraw that question for just a minute, just a question of my own. Is there any way we might be able to make our reserves grow more than just keeping them in the bank this year? Because we're not building, and we won't really need much of that money, or we only need the building part of that money come the spring. Or is that something?
Yes, we could. In the past, I have, the interest rates haven't really been much different between the money market account versus like a CD.
Mhm.
Because it ties up the money a little bit more, but I could, we could, if you guys wanted to, some of our money market funds, we could put into a separate account, because we will either apply for a building loan for the construction funds, or hopefully get, funding elsewhere. So we really won't have to use some of the money that we have in money market right now, so we could tie it up for, a couple of years or something. We could discuss that in our finance committee that is Rhonda and Vicky and myself.
Were you thinking of something that would be a better payback than just the savings account?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just thinking, how do we get in as much money as we possibly can? It's probably sort of trivial. And if the best way we can do it is by tying up the money for a couple of years, that may not be something we really want to do anyway, because we might want the liquidity, right?
I think so. A CD would not pay that much more money than the money market account. I know that the town of Pitkin invested some of their money into a different kind of governmental sort of place where it was earning more money without any time restrictions on it. But I'm not sure that's something that a nonprofit can avail themselves of. So
Currently make about $20 a month in interest on our money market account.
Well, so unless we go into something way higher risk, I doubt we're going to get more. Well, we might make $21 a month with a CD, right?
yeah.
That's hardly worth the trouble.
We have done that in the past. It's just the interest rates haven't been as good, and we've been using it kind of as we've like sold a property and then kind of used it, gain it back, use it, gain it back, kind of thing.
Okay. That answers the question for me. Thank you. So would anybody like to move to accept the budget for fiscal year 2021?
I so move.
A second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Further discussion? So moved. We have the official acceptance of the fiscal year 2021 budget. On to the next item is the staff report, which is the WWC4 construction updates.
So I did send out just this afternoon just some quick updates, just updating the accounts, the balances, and we did get the foundation bid in, but Killian and I are going over it line by line because we don't think it should be as much as it is. It's more than we were told it was going to be. So we want to work with, we're hoping Klein will come down more on that. So we're not paying it yet. But if you see the staff report that I just sent this afternoon, like an hour before the meeting, because I just met with Killian and we talked about the bill, and we met with Ralph, and he can talk to you about that later. But so this is where if we did want to take any money, what we would have left. Our current balance is about 100,000. It's 101, and we'll have about 30,000 in foundation to pay up front. And then the rest of that money, I was just thinking in my head that we would just keep it. It's just our kind of operating money. For a while, we could take some of it and put it into something like we talked about, a CD or something. But it's not money that we would touch for any further building. We will either apply for a construction loan to finish, or as grants come in, we will filter that grant money into the construction loan account and, you know, pay for things out of that account as they come up as well.
So how much more than expected is the construction cost? What happened there?
We're talking about the foundation. Not
You know, Chris just said everything has gone up exponentially, which is really kind of scary in a way. And Killian and I talked about it, and we're going to relook at our budget just to see how things are going to affect us. But Killian still thinks he doesn't like the like the invoice, so he's going over it line by line and wants to see what things went up from last year's bid, because we were basically told to take last year's bid and add 3% to it. And so I can't tell you specifically, but when I did talk to Chris about it, I did talk to Chris Klein just initially about why it was so much more, and he just said everything would cost more and took more time.
Well, so how much more total was it? Like, I mean, did we move from 3,000 to 3,500 or 3,000 to 4,500?
Well, and that's another thing. He did some extra things this time that he didn't do. So we're trying to grab those numbers from our budget to see how far off it is, because we need to take into the fact like radon was done and other steps. And he's still going to come back and help us set up forms for sidewalk and things like that. But there's some things that we need to take out of other places of the budget and add to it to see really how far off we are. But we thought it was going to be around 28, 29, and our bill was 34.
That's 25% almost. 20%. So
but I don't want to like scare you with those numbers, because like I said, Killian's we got to look at it, because I don't know if like radon was put into that number. Vicki and I talked a little bit about it yesterday too, and we were trying to go from our budget numbers and look at other things of, oh, well, this was done and that wasn't put in there, and this is done, and where do we pull that number from? And I think we have, you know, just some different things, but it is still more than we were budgeting.
So, it doesn't so much scare me as it makes me think forward that if we had, and I think we had this, I'm just speaking rough numbers, we had about 200,000, let's call it, budgeted for building this year. And I know that that's very, very rough. If we can expect a 20% increase, we could be looking at spending 240 simply because the nature of the construction in the community is driving the prices up. And that's
correct. Actually, the budget that we looked at in the spring before COVID hit and all of this, when we thought we were actually moving forward, we were up to like almost 250 for a 3-bedroom with the ADA.
And it's 243 was Killian's first stab at a 3-bedroom house. And the last house cost 220. Now this one's going to have the 3rd bedroom, and it's going to be ADA compliant, so we will have additional costs. But that's the work paper that Killian submitted a while ago. And who knows how that's gonna go, but yeah, it's 243 with a $5,000 contingency for cost overruns. And he hopes, of course, that his costs are gonna be right on, but right now we already have a $5,000 overrun. So we gotta find out exactly what Chris Klein included in his bid, which is what Killian's in his bill, his invoice.
Yeah,
It's like a 30-page invoice, so it's not like something that we just
for a
looked
foundation?
at. It's very long.
For a foundation, he gave you a 30-page invoice?
It's, yeah, I didn't count the pages. I can look at it again, but it's about 5 pages just showing us every single day, every employee, every hour, every wage. And then there's probably 10, 15 pages of invoices that he gets, he attaches all the invoices. Every single invoice goes into it, from Ace Hardware to United Companies to Western Lumber to
Got it.
Rebar to, yeah.
Yeah, got it.
So yeah, it's not just a couple pages that we're like, oh yeah, it's taking us a couple days to look over it, to find everything and compare it to last bill.
Okay. Just trying to get clarity, that's all.
Yeah, sorry.
Did he say why it took him longer?
Well, one reason was because they didn't start it when we wanted to, and that was kind of something we were a little upset about, because we could have accepted another bid for somebody that maybe could have got it done quicker. We were kind of put off, and then the ditches got put on. So then we were charged for pump fees to get rid of some of the water that came in while they were digging. Yeah. None of us are really happy about it right now. So hopefully we'll be happier next time we talk to you about it.
Julie, I was going to ask, did they pour a pad in back there? I've been over there and I thought I saw a pad for
just the parking pad. That's what Ed Nelly's looked like originally too, and then it gets driven on during the process, and we'd start to grow up through it and stuff. But it's compacted down to where that's the actual parking pad that's up to code and a certain size for parking.
Not a concrete pad though. It's just
no, it just looks really, they did a really excellent job. I mean, everything looks really great over there. They even prepped like the next kind of site, for us starting to store more dirt and stuff like that. If you guys get a chance to drive over, it really looks.
It looks like the next site got cleared pretty.
Mm-hmm. They did a lot of dirt work. There are things added to this bill that we didn't have on the last one too. So we are trying to, take all that into consideration. It just would have been nice to have known some of that during the process of them saying, this is going to cost more, this, or whatever, even though that wasn't the bid that, that we got.
Julie, some of the things that they did, would they be allocated to the next house? Would they be things that would be included next house next door? Or are they just, basic, all for this place?
I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know.
Yeah, I understand.
So Vicki, we're hoping that they did the work, they're charging us this year. It'll just mean that next year they get straight to work on the foundation, and there won't be a charge for the prepping of the site before they put the foundation on, I guess is what we're hoping for, right?
Correct. And if there was some time that was specific to the next house, we could maybe take it off of this house and put it onto the next house. But I think we need probably more analysis of the bid, of the invoice.
Yeah.
Submitted to it.
I mean, that helps us out a little. And at my cynical worst, if he needed a little more cash this year, because situations were rough, and he did some work and took the cash this year instead of next year, well, on the other hand, we are getting somebody who's helping us out, right? So you don't want to get too cynical.
Well, the bid doesn't really feel like, I mean, there is a $5,000 credit
Mhm.
on the invoice for his time. And so we're like, really, it would have been that much even more.
I agree.
So, you know, I mean, I feel like Chris he does wonderful work. He does great work, and he's always presented, you know, he always wants to help us. But this bid didn't really feel like we were getting that great of a deal.
Well, it was a rough spring.
I know, but we could have, like I said, we could have accepted another bid.
Well, just asking. No great worries on my end.
And I hope to have more answers for you.
Cool.
So yeah, I don't, you guys can, you know, any questions for me? Oh, let me check my notes here. One thing I just wanted to mention to Sharon, if she could please mark in the minutes that this is our annual meeting. We always approve our budget. Typically it's in July, but we were a little behind this year. But we have to always have an annual meeting, and that's on the top of the agenda, but it is our annual meeting. It's when we approve the budget. If you could just put that in the minutes. And we typically at the beginning of the year, it's another year for our board member agreements. So typically I'm able to hand that out to you guys. So I guess this time I'll either I can email stuff. I know it's sometimes hard for you guys to print stuff out. I like to try to have that for you. So I might just reach out to each of you individually and find out what's the best way to either get you guys the agreements for you to print out yourself and get them to me, drop them off at the office, or if you want me to mail them to you or drop them off at your house or whatever. But I'll be sending you guys out emails about that. And that's the only thing I have under my staff report.
I have a comment, Julie.
Yes.
I will call Jim Starr.
Okay.
It would be helpful if you could provide me the best number to reach him.
Okay.
Not right this minute, but if you just send it to me, email it to me or whatever, I'll call Jim Starr.
Thank you, and I will.
Rhonda, I've been seeing Jim fairly often because of the politics involved. Hang on just a minute. I bet that's important. And so I also was going to maybe mention it to him if it wouldn't be a problem.
No, I think that would, I think if two of us do it, it would be more helpful than just one. So
okay, I'll make that a plan.
Yeah, maybe not in the middle of a discussion about Bobert.
Right. I'll find an opportune moment.
You know, I have a feeling they've just been really busy with trying to hire a new ED, and I'm sure Jim's busy with other stuff, and I think everybody's been really busy. People have either really wanted to like check out because they don't want to pay attention to what's going on in the world, or if they are, they're just so, you know, you can just feel the tension in the air. And so I kind of get the feeling that, you know, people are just really busy and have so much else going on. I'm trying not to take it so personally that they're not getting back to us.
But, you know, Jim's had his family, his grandkids and everybody in town. However, I think because he was positive in the beginning.
Yeah.
Reacted positively in the beginning, that he probably just needs a nudge. And so I think that will work.
Well, I thought I might wait until after Labor Day.
Okay,
On the assumption that, maybe visitors and whatever might be less prevalent. Um,
right.
So that's
Summaries.
what I had in mind trying to do, reach him after Labor Day.
Okay,
That it, Julie?
Yeah, I was gonna say kind of the same as Rhonda's, kind of waiting till Labor Day to submit some pictures to the newspaper to see if they'd run an article about our next build. So just when people, like I said, would have time to read it, hopefully.
Good. Actually, that might be good to have in the paper before we try to speak to him, because that might, I certainly can describe in general the family, but a picture of the family might be helpful as well.
Yeah.
Onward.
Onward.
Okay, old business. We've got three things on the agenda, and I think this is really three shades of the same thing, not 50 alas, but three. We're looking at discovering the values process, and I talked with Julie and Killian about a little bit about that today, and they have put together some really strong ideas about what we can do in terms of what a vision statement can look like and what a mission statement can look like. And I think I would definitely want to say thank you to them for doing all that hard work. I read through it a couple of times since I talked with them, and I do think it's very interesting. And I think a lot of it probably will end up getting integrated with what we come up with. And I do want to say that the discovery value process, I should hopefully be able to finish that off. I think I've got two more interviews to do, one with Vicky and one with Dale, and then I've got that paperwork done. I apologize for not getting it done sooner. At the same time, you guys know what my situation has been. I think we can get that done. What I'll do, I've got some notes here. What I'm going to do is once I get those interviews finished, I will summarize them into a single document. And what I will do is I'll send that document to you. And the idea being that you would look over the document. If there's something I've missed, or if I've somehow misrepresented an idea, I'd certainly not do that on purpose, but certainly can happen by accident. You can then get back to me and say, hey, okay, you missed this, or I want to add that, or whatever. And I'd like to get that done. I am going to shoot for second to third week in September. I think I can offer that. I should be, given the rate I'm healing, I should be fine to be able to do that, which I'd like to get finished. And then out of that, the plan would be to generate a vision statement for the organization. And then I think our next step would be to generate a mission statement. And then out of that mission statement, of course, comes the organizational strategy. And I see this, especially the vision and mission statement, as the work of the board. And we really, it's us, the board, that's going to need to come up with a clear sense of what both the vision and mission statement is, so that Julie and Killian have a really clear idea of where to go and what we want to accomplish. And I think that's really important work. So I'm probably going to bug all of you a little bit regularly so that we can make that happen. Because I do think it's very important work. And I think and feel very strongly that what's going to happen is it's going to really allow the organization to clarify where it goes and what it wants to do. And I think there's some very cool ideas. And there may be changes of what we do, but I don't want to babble on any much more, because we only have so much time, and I personally actually only have so much energy. I'd like to sort of project forward, if we want to continue on, in my opinion, the best way we can do this is you generate a vision statement, then you generate a mission statement, and then out of that comes the strategic plan for the organization. And I think a lot of that strategic planning, in my opinion, and this is a very strongly held opinion, although I am just one voice on the board, I understand that. Then that work gets done at the operational level, and certainly there needs to be board representation in that process. And since you've got me as chair, I'd obviously be quite willing to do that. I think I can offer you, the organization, the time that I can help create that as one representative. We may want one or two other representatives in that process, but that's something I think we can discuss in the next little while to get that done. And around that, I have a question, because Julie brought it up. When is the, do we have to produce a strategic plan to keep Habitat for Humanity Colorado or the United States happy? And when would that be due?
It's not something that we, that anybody asks for in writing. It's more of just in our best practices, something that we should have in place as an organization. We did have one and we completed it, and I did send all that out to you guys over the winter, and I think Rhonda responded, and we've kind of just shelved it, you know, we've kind of tabled it for now, but it's just something that we should have as far as best practices go as an organization, because it's just like the vision and the mission. It drives your, you know, your daily routine and what you're trying to accomplish as an organization.
All right, cool. So that gives me a clear sense, because I agree, we really do want to have, that will make everybody's life way easier. And
I can't remember if it's actually asked. That's why I sent you guys out that the thing that I have to reply to for international about the quality assurance that we go through. It's just kind of their way of keeping us in best practices. We're really fortunate to have the Community Foundation here, and they provide so much of that training and checklists of best practices for nonprofits. But then international sends that out every year to us to just make sure we're keeping up to date with policies and you know, things like that. So I just wanted you guys to see that, because we always every year sign a resolution, which I'm going to have to get from all of you guys when I go around and give you your board member agreements. Just so you know kind of what some of those things are. And I think we might be behind in some of like officially adopting policies that if we want to as an organization, we just always keep in any policy that international passes. It just kind of becomes part of our policy handbook kind of thing. But I might just check a couple of them and make sure they're in our book here too. And Dale and Rhonda typically sit on that committee for policy review.
would you guys be comfortable if I got involved in that?
You can do it as far as I'm concerned.
All righty then. Do you have any doubts about that, Rhonda?
It's so much fun. It's policy.
It's sort of a boring task. It's, you know, it's an important one, but it is, your eyes sort of cross after a little bit.
Yeah, they sure do, right? Well, if you want to keep your eyes uncrossed, I'm willing to take on the pain. I have the meds for it, so we'll be good.
Awesome. The policies will probably be a little better that way.
Well, who knows? So maybe, Julie, you and I should talk about that offline.
We can do that.
Cool. Are there questions about the stuff I talked about?
No,
right.
but I was just curious, what is a vision statement? I know what a mission statement is, but a vision statement summarization.
Well, the way to look at it best is a vision determines where you want to get to, and the mission determines how you're going to get there. So let me use an example. You've got the 3 collegiate peaks, and the organization decides we want to go to the summit of Harvard Peak. All right, there's our vision. And our mission is, how are we going to get up there? What do we have to get in terms of material and general, and gets very general activities we need to do to get there. And then the strategy gets into much more of the specifics of what we need to do. How's that, Stephen? Does that help?
Oh, that's great. Right on.
Cool. A lot of people really obfuscate the vision and mission thing. Personally, I think it's so that they can charge more consulting dollars. But, you know, I'm a cynic, I suppose.
Well, Ralph, tell them about the Mad Lib templates we sent you.
Oh, yeah. Killian and Julie sent me some templates that we can use to develop the vision and mission statements. And it's certainly something we should take a look at and see if it gives us the flexibility we need to develop ours, because we certainly can use them as a guideline, and we may want to use them completely as a guideline, or we may find that we can generate the vision statement in some different fashion, or the mission statement in some different fashion. But they took a lot of time and trouble to find us templates that we can use so that our pain can be minimal, which I really appreciate.
We just thought they were, we thought they were really kind of funny because of the, you know, just the way they dumbed it down with the name of organization space is a adjective space is comprised of adjectives. You know, I mean, it's just, we just thought it was kind of funny.
Well, it is.
And it kind of narrows down all your ideas, you know.
Like I said, it can be very helpful. Onward. New business. So the annual covenant for HFHI.
Yes, I sent it to all of you just basically for review. It's just something I do every year and answer the questions online, but then we sign a resolution that you all have seen it and agree, you know what's happening. So,
Julie, help me out. When did I get that? Because apparently
I don't know.
I
can resend it. Did anybody remember even seeing it, or?
Yeah, I got it.
Yes, I got it.
Okay.
It's been a while.
And I might have a date.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'll send it.
Yeah, please send it again. My concentration levels have not been at the highest. What I had to give, I gave to Louise.
It was August 5th.
Okay, thank you.
8.
So Julie, there's nothing that we really need to do. You complete that and then we review it? Or do we?
Yeah, I just sent it out for you guys to review just so you could see if they're, you know, it's pretty standard stuff. They ask the same things every year. The only thing I said, like I said, I need to kind of update was a couple, make sure we've, you know, updated our policies, but I'll go over that with Ralph and maybe just Ralph since Rhonda passed the torch.
Let him suffer. We're good.
Hey, you volunteered.
Yeah, no doubt.
Did. And just to ask out loud, please, has everybody got that? Because it has not come into my email yet.
Yes, I got it.
I'll resend it.
Could you please? Because it seems I might be, you may have two different mailing lists.
I have your new email address, but maybe I sent it before I had updated yours. So
you send it to Western EDU.
Yeah, okay. I'll find it and
Yeah.
send it to Ralph again. Okay.
Yeah, could you please? Maybe that's why I've been missing a couple of things. Western was very fast to remove my email. It almost hurt, but I don't personalize these things because they missed my Zoom account. So Joel, shut up. Can I say we're finished for today?
Yes.
I will say I think we're done for today, and I do want to call this meeting to a close because I'm a little sore, and I would like a chance to sit and rest a little bit.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you.
Got it.
Keep
Julie.
healing.
Be safe, Ralph, will you?
I will try really hard. You know, life
Yeah.
just throws you lemons sometimes. Thank you, Stephen.
I would like to say that I have really enjoyed Stephen's cat's input.
Yeah. I didn't mean that.
No, how did I not get to see that?
Oh, the cats walked back and forth several times. I really enjoyed that.
I'm throwing a pillow.
I've missed seeing your face, Steve, but the cat was made up for it.
Yeah, I've got to figure out how to work this camera.
Oh, there's more people.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Good night.